and welcome to another episode of the SCC Online Weekly Rewind. I am Prachi Bhardwaj, and in this episode I will break down for you important and interesting legal updates from the right to abortion in the USA to unmarried daughters' right to maintenance in India. In a far-reaching decision concerning American women's right to abortion, the Supreme Court of the United States has held that the Constitution of the United States does not confer any right to obtain abortions. The judgment decisively overrules the landmark 1973's ruling of Roe v. Wade, which granted this constitutional right in the first place. Furthermore, by this mandate, the authority to regulate abortion has now returned to the people and their elected representatives. While Chief Justice Roberts agreed with the majority opinion that the viability line established by Roe and Casey should be discarded, he, however, took a measured course and said that the right should extend far enough to ensure a reasonable opportunity to choose, but need not extend any further, certainly not all the way to the viability. However, the dissenting opinion termed the decision to be catastrophic and stated that the majority has given the ruling out of despite and has substituted a rule by judges for the rule of law. Either the mass of the majority's opinion is hypocrisy or additional constitutional rights are under a threat. Let's kickstart the updates from the courts of India with the news of 6 high courts getting new chief justices. While Telangana High Court's current Chief Justice Satish Chandra Sharma will now be assuming the charge of the office of Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, 5 judges have been promoted to be the Chief Justices of Guwahati, Rajasthan, Uttaranchal, Himachal Pradesh and Telangana High Courts. You can read all about the appointments on the SCC Online blog. The biggest story from the Supreme Court this week was where the court dismissed Zakia Jafri's plea challenging the clean chit given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi by the Special Investigation Team in the 2002 Gujarat Riots case. The court observed that no fault can be found with the approach of the SIT in submitting the final report back in 2012, which is backed by firm logic, expositing analytical mind, and dealing with all aspects objectively for discarding the allegations regarding larger criminal conspiracy at the highest level for causing and precipitating mass violence across the state of Gujarat against the minority community. Justice delayed is justice denied, or better late than never? You decide after hearing this story. In 1994, a young couple belonging to different castes was found hanging from a tree after having gone missing for days. The love affair did not sit well with the girl's father and uncle. It was alleged that her uncle, along with his aides, had killed both of them and had kept the bodies in the house for 3 days, after which he had taken the bodies to a nearby cashew nursery and had hung them on a cashew tree to give it the shape of them having committed suicide. The prosecution, however, miserably failed to bring home the charges leveled against the accused beyond reasonable doubt. Hence, the court observed that the conviction could not have been based on a very weak kind of evidence of extrajudicial confession by the co-accused and the theory of last seen together propounded by the prime witness, that too 4 months after the occurrence of the event. As a result, the man who was accused of killing his niece and her lover in a bid to save the honor of his family will finally get to walk free after 28 years. Have you ever wondered if the Instagram models or influencers earn enough to sustain, or is it all just make-believe? Well, according to the father of one such Instagram model, his daughter is earning about rupees 72 lakhs to 80 lakhs by posting her photographs on the social media app, and hence he was not required to maintain her. This argument, however, did not impress the Bombay High Court, that held that the father had the responsibility to maintain his unmarried major daughter and that her Instagram profile was not enough to prove that she has independent and sufficient income. The court remarked that it is a well-known fact that it is the habit of the youth of today to project a glossy picture and post the same in the social media, though its contents may not always be true. In an important development on right to information, the Orissa High Court has held that the government of Orissa cannot deny information pertaining to the Vigilance Department involving allegations of corruption and human rights violation and other information that does not touch upon any of the sensitive and confidential activities undertaken by the Vigilance Department. The court held that if under the RTI Act disclosure is the norm and non-disclosure is the exception, then the notification by the Orissa government's Information and Public Relations Department seeks to take away what is provided by the RTI Act and is therefore ultra vires the Act. Sanitation is personal and private, inextricably linked to human dignity. At the same time, sanitation has an essential public health dimension. This is what the Patna High Court observed while stressing upon the right to sanitation as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution. The court has hence directed the state, National Highway Authority of India, and oil marketing companies to construct public toilets and public conveniences on highways across the state of Bihar. Now an unmissable story from the National Consumer Dispute Resolution Commission. In a consumer dispute where a woman had alleged medical negligence on the part of doctors who had left a sponge in her abdomen after performing a cesarean surgery, the NCDRC has held that since a foreign body was left in the system of the complainant during the surgery, it clearly indicated a failure of reasonable degree of care, and thus it constitutes medical negligence. As a result, the women will now get the compensation of rupees 5 lakhs. Now let's go through some important legislation updates. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has exempted TDS on lease rentals under Section 194I of Income Tax Act paid to aircraft leasing units. The notification will come into force on July 1, 2022. The exemption is applicable on certain conditions. You can read the same on the SCC Online blog. Central government has notified the registration of electors' amendment rules to 2022, which brings into picture a new rule which provides merger and integration of list of amendments. The rule provides that the list of amendments prepared with reference to the qualifying dates shall be merged and integrated with the last finally published roll and published as draft roll before every election and by-election, and shall be put in public domain with reference to the qualifying date proximate to the said election as the Election Commission may direct. The National Financial Reporting Authority Amendment Rules 2022 have been notified to introduce the penalty in case of non-compliance of the provisions of the National Financial Reporting Authority rules. Whoever contravenes any of the provisions of these rules shall be punishable with fine not exceeding rupees 5,000, and where the contravention is a continuing one, with a further fine not exceeding 500 rupees for every day after the first during which the contravention continues. That's all from this week. We'll be back with more legal stories in the next episode. Till then, stay tuned to the SCC Online blog for the best analytical legal news.